First off, thank you to KBK for organizing this great conference. Thank you all for taking the time to come and to show that you care about our industry and care about the livestock and our food system that our nation is all dependent on. My presentation today is for the record. I'd like to dedicate this to two people. I would like to dedicate this to the late Paul Greenow, who was my mentor, and believe that hoof trimmers should be at the caliber of a nurse practitioner under a doctor. Can't be a veterinarian, but you are good enough to do almost everything that a vet could, or surpass what they can do in the practical care of hoof care. The second person I want to dedicate this to is Hence Meckie. Hence, back whenever we go to conferences and whenever we have meetings, they build confidence. 2 years ago when I was here, Hence asked a very important question at the end of the dialogue. He said, how can you guarantee whether a trimmer is doing good or value for a farm if he does not have control of his work? And I thought that this question wasn't quite answered, and I kind of stuck my ground on this to the point where I'm bringing you back the answer today, Hence. Good? Cheers. We did a lot of cheering last night. Oh, I need this. Canadians, we get a little lost. Okay. So, basically, I'm a member of and past board member of the Hoof Trimmers Association in our province. We have what we call the Guild, and then I have the pleasure of working with some of you here on the field, and many others in the International Committee of Animal Recording Working Group on Functional Traits, developing the ICAR Foot Atlas. It's great fun to wake up at 2:30 in the morning to help me at a meeting in Paris. This is my profile. I've been trimming since 1984. I have done research which was presented in New Zealand in 2011. I've done courses and I've worked under Dortes. I'm supposed to know what digital dermatitis looks like. Yeah, we still. It's a work in progress. When I worked for Toronto Public Health, they always had a disclaimer on all the documents that we made. Work in progress. So that's how we do things. I still trim, but I am more involved in education. I worked 7 years now with Cornell University. This year now I switched over to University of Guelph and teaching farmers. The picture on the bottom you see with the 3 shoots, I sponsored Peter Krusterman to come over. So we've had a lot of very talented people gracious enough to come visit us in Ontario and help teach our trimmers. And we're trying to expand our knowledge and share what we care. 84, 45 herd plant base. I do all sizes of herds. Most of my cattle are registered Holsteins and 5% are Jerseys. We do about 8,500 cows in trimming. So, big question, why record? This was an earlier concept, and many trimmers still want to ask these questions. I trim the animals, I fix the animals, I build the farm, see you in X months, repeat process. Why should I record? Oops. Pass on that one. The reason you need to record is to keep inventory records and to work within an industry that we have set up. We have, basically when I tried to explain the Ontario meeting, you have veterinarians, you have farmers, trimmers, building consultants, and you have breed associations that keep animal livestock going in. And we say we want this team measure, or team players, and you want a team to work with. Have you ever tried to manage a team where all the players play by their own set of rules? It's very difficult. So in my shop, I keep dated inventory records for drug information. I do DIN, everything I switch to touch a cow, it's accounted for. So over 9 years I've electronically recorded hoof health. This is my first Hoof Supervisor tablet. I'm up to number 3. That's the little black box. which can now generate data. We use the foot atlas. I'm very fierce on the use of the foot atlas because it can be pinpoint accuracy like a GPS system, and you can find it in Hispanic, Chinese, Deutsch, English, Canadian, to generate data profiles. It allows me to build a data profile, and it allows me to ask the unit questions. What do I want to, what am I seeing? So this is my farm hoof care team model. This basically generates everything and how I work. So I try to integrate everything possible to disperse my information to. What we're doing is this. We are generating a circle of knowledge. It's very critical to understand that this circle must flow. It allows everyone to work together based on evidence. And the evidence that I provide through training fulfills our national strategies. So, recommended code for dairy cattle, funny story. We got this back in 2009. This book here, dropped it off, and all the hoof trimmers know what farmers are like. Boom, in the pile. And then in 2014, 2015, the National Dairy Organization came up with ProAction to answer animal welfare concerns, quality milk concerns for consumers. Processors wanted action, and then they said, we're going to base it, this strategy, on this book. And everybody ran around trying to find the book. I said, you should do like I do, I keep a library. Lose the book. When you don't lose. Basically, this is set up to prove due diligence in the dairy industry regarding animal care and food production. So, in our line of work, the main goal is that successful hoof care should reflect lameness goals should be below 10%. That's a critical point we need to do. We didn't ask for perfect, we just said below 10% according to the guideline. So the sub-goal is less than 10% of the cows have ulcers, and less than 15% have digital dermatitis. It's a good benchmark to go to. So this is our color codes. If you can't trim, I can paint. That's good. So you'll see under ProAction assessment, under body condition score, Hawks, lameness and freestyle. Oops, back up. No. Big fingers. Thank you. We have independent assessors go through the barns. We just finished our first national audit last year. So the target lines are still set. And what we want to see is our farms are here. This is going to put you in trouble. That is not acceptable. That will have to be addressed. So considerations about electronic recording, you may talk to Charlie and many other people in here. Number one, you have to understand if you're going to do electronic recording, privacy. Farm information is not to be shared without permission. Speed, how fast can I enter the data in as a hoof trimmer? I'm trying to trim. I don't want to be fidgeting time to find data points. Transparency, who can use it, who can see it. And sharing that data is the most important part. So, because if you have a herd with issues, you need to know what these issues are. Kansas City got sore cows, or I think they've got digital dermatitis. I treated this. You need to have people help you record and deal with the remedy situation. So like our previous speaker, who uses concoctions, or are you using responsible chemical use? So what chemicals or what product lines are you going to use to deal with what issues? Because your memory sucks. Amen. Vic, did you do that cow? I can't remember what I did 2 cows ago. The data entry saves me from making mistakes. I will swear to God, I could have told you client 27 had a 35% outbreak in ulcers on a feed-related issue over a 7-year period with a spike and flat. I was going to use it as an expression of saying, oh, don't panic when something goes wrong, just look at the long term. sucks. So basically, to protect privacy, we need to have a standard observation training generating records that are consistent and accurate. And they either have to celebrate success of what the farm is doing or initiate change according to a goal. This is the goal that should have been put forward 10 years ago to understand how younger farmers want to work. And I will express this. The first thing that I got when I got a supervisor or any system, can it integrate with my milk recording agency? No. Well, I want to integrate with my, no, I just, the farm. I just want to hit my computer and see the cow's health profile. I want the health on my system. I said, I don't do politics. But I do know we can maybe over time get this done. Young farmers just want to go to the phone, pet an app, the cow, done. Not chasing papers. So one word is communication. So what type of records generate the best understanding for farmers? Do we have scientific nomenclature? Do we have pet names for lesions? Bumblefoot? Warts? Not digital dermatitis? Paper records covered in manure? That's a very non-effective way to communicate. Memory? Sure, that doesn't work. So for farmers, try time and money. I know most hoof trimmers are going to challenge me on this a bit. And I won't blame you. Let me try to explain this. Farmers know what time it is to milk cows. Farmers know what time it takes to fix a case of mastitis. Farmers know when to degenerate and change oil in a tractor. But somehow, time management and money isn't properly reflected in foot care. This is a big issue. They don't see it. I know we all explain how much money you've lost. They will just look at you like, I have a check at the end of the month. I have a budget. I don't really see the issue. So facts pay, not assumptions. So not correctly identifying lesions negate a credible exchange of conversation. So assumptions, this is my favorite disease. Spice gripitis, swallowtitis. No money's coming out of this wallet. Not going to spend a dime. Okay, I understand this. But hoof care needs proper investment, and you need to have fact-based communication that encourages the farmer to release the vice grip. You've got to get them to understand, why should I release the vice grip? Because when you teach them this, when the vice grip comes off, they can expand their money. So with the vice grip tight, for every action there is equal and opposite reaction. If it's that tight, you also can't get more money. It won't come in. Confidence plus a proven plan track record allow the influx of more cash to the farm. It's very simple. So recording hoof health and observations, I use our Ontario Hoof Health Guide. I use the M-scoring digital dermatitis, and I also use the ICAR guide to help explain what I see. You are the front line. The hoof trimmers are the front line of seeing what's all around that foot. 360 degrees. No one else but you can do that. Or a person who picks a foot up. So why is this necessary? Because it allows the records to go through the information system. So now, in order to get my farmers, I create a hoof health index, which is very simple. All of you can do this, it's easy. Number of cows you trim equals a base price, you're 100%. Time, the cost of treatments as a percent. It gives you a sense of return on the farm investment, and it coordinates with our pro-action goals. So I'll give you an example. 100 cows times that price, base price is $1,500 Canadian. 10% cost of treatments is $150. That gives the trimmer cost index of 1.1. or $16.50 a cut. Shows two things. Timing of the trim is worked under our assessment profile, and the healthcare team has a point to mark the information provided. So if there's any change in foot health, less or more, you can celebrate or make change. Example 2, same herd, different situation though. 100 cows, the trimmer doesn't change. But the cost of blocks and racks and the cost of treatment skyrocket to $500. That means 33% increase in cost of treating. The cost per cow is now $20 per cow. Farmers are now starting to catch attention. If you put it that way, it's not just the bill. The farmer question doesn't meet the recommended goals due to cost of treatments, which means excessive lameness, and it should require review of the farm management regarding the lesion treatment profile. So blocks are disease treatments. If there's a lot of blocks, I don't mean to be rude to my trimming colleagues, but you do have to review the trimming first to get it out of the way. If they do it in a good method, generating stability, it won't be an issue, it's very quick. Then we go to flooring, stalls, stall size, management practices, and most importantly, animal inventory management. Rapture treatments for digital dermatitis, simple. Who's not doing the foot bath or the hygiene score? So here's an example of a new farm that came in. So this is basically the profile I set up. Trimmer cost index, 1.1, 12 to 21%, 22 to 30%, 31 to 39%, 40 to 40%, 50%. First farm that came in, that's where they sit, right at the bottom of my business pile. The important part of this is they now know how many of my herds qualify under each of those health parameters, 46%, 32, 12, they're at the bottom. By doing what I ask, I get them all the way up to here. Good job, Vic. Good job, farm. Well, I'll tell you this, my scriptitis yet. We don't need to do this anymore. Let's go back. I said, we'll do 5 months. We did 5 months, 5 months. We'll call you when we need you. Would you like to know where they ended up the next time? Right back at the bottom again. Didn't pay attention. Farmers want to know how good they are. They're very competitive. So to do that, I give an annual financial review. There's 7 years. Number of cows, base price, number of blocks, racks. They get a whole financial profile, which is very critical. Because it gives them a better focus. So the standard time we adopted, I talked to Jamie Sullivan, gave me a call. What do you think about a 5-month trimming interval? I said, it was a gold standard. I said, perfect. 6 doesn't work. Too much lameness on too many cows at the end. Time is working against us. So for every month that you can go above that, the farmers get an 8% credit. It should be 8.337, but we're not going to do that. It's 8%. Every month I go below 5 months, you get an 8% penalty. I don't, in my practice, consider 4 months a valid concept. So this is what a business report looks like. Do not get blinded by this. It's not a pretty slide. The important thing to understand is that this is all these herds are all personalized identifications, how many animal inventory management trims we do, the type of trimming method, how much the trimming costs, racks, blocks, and X's. But when you're on a farm and you look at your farm and you're sitting right about here, you should feel really, really good. As a hoof trimmer, you should feel really, really good. As a feed person, we should all feel really, really good. The next 2 columns are still adequate, good improvement, but those farms need motivation to change. When they see where they are in the whole spectrum, they now pay attention. So, happy farm, here we go. Each farm, every plant, every year gets their report. So this herd in 2011, simply put, they're the green herd. Yeah, yes. Got a historical record, no one can challenge them. If they have a problem, this is the second herd. You'll see where they were here. New construction, so you put a building. Lost issues, went back to green, yellow, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The The reason we do the colors is the farmers can see it, and all they want to know is I'm not red. I'm not red. I don't want to be red. Okay. So I'm orange. Okay. You kind of see the brown. So next one's very interesting. I don't have to explain that. But I want to talk about this herd. This kind of goes to what Hens was talking about. I don't want my time here, I'm going to push it. 150 cow slatted floor barn, took over in 2012. As you can see, things did not go very well. We were going completely the wrong way. Basically, there were several issues. They were mobility scoring, wrong. No mobility scoring anymore. There were 198 cows in the 150 cow slatted floor barn. Foot bath management wasn't quite strong enough, and we had a lot of white line. So to make this better, I said we need to invest far more. So I'll go right to up here. From 350, we did 527 animal turns. We put on 142 blocks. I went merciless. You will never, ever, ever bring me a cow over 6 months again. I saw 11-month cows, 14-month cows, 9-month cows, but they looked not bad, but they went too long. So this next slide should work. Oops. There, yeah, here we go. So this is the changes we made. 4 to 5 to 6 months. Low motion scoring is banned. I do all the red heifer trimming. Change times. Now here we go here. I cleaned this file up. Here's the same file. And now we've got this herd moved all the way into the orange. Now for whatever reason, but thanks to Dorte's workshop yesterday, had the foot bath protocol, which we had a lot of M4s, which we didn't have before. I would have that herd up to right about here. Oops, back, Canadian cows. Back. Good. That herd would be right there. That's a huge change. So now when Vic shows up, they go find the right cows. They've got it on the computer, their dairy comp, they pull the cows according to the lactation point. We have their attention. So that's good. Records prove financial investments paying off. They're happy. And herds that have troubles, I can use that model and they go, they can do it, I can do it. Good. Establish the confidence. Okay. Patience pays, we reduced blocking by 70%. We were doing 4.5 blocks on 45 versus 12. They'll revisit the foot bath management. Good change. Okay, so that's how records can change. I'll be around for the day to talk about that. Genomics and hoof health update. I'm going to do this quite quickly. So what's all the records doing? So Canada, welcome, eh? 7 years ago, I initiated a meeting, almost 8 years ago. This is 8 years in the making. I'm unveiling this today to you people first. I did get this before I go. So first off, the impact of genomics on genetic process. A lot of people were dubious. They're no longer dubious on how much genomics have speeded up productivity, fertility, and longevity in their cows, and hoof health index, or lifetime index, I should say. So we doubled the genetic progress, jumped from $184 a cow per year up to $171 per year. The impact on my herds is staggering. I'm doing 60-liter 2-year-olds. That look fabulous. And they're holding up quite well. So hoof health records can prove relativity of confirmation to actual foot health in sires. And thanks to Viking Genetics and then Dr. Anderson from Sweden when we did the Nordic countries, thank you, brave Baltic countries, Nordic countries, for doing this. You people gave us the impetus in Canada to say this can be done too. So in December of 2017, we had our first bull proof based on digital dermatitis resistance. 300,000 cows on 1,200 herds and 70 hoof trimmers across Canada. We had the 5 objective was to standardize the data, initiate data flow, genetic validation of foot health, and develop new DHI management to report for dairy producers, which is the original question, Vic. Can this integrate onto my DHI comp yet? No. The farm looks just like that. So we use the Hoof Supervisor system, we use the codes, we use the atlas, maybe you've seen this. So priority one was to establish the impact of sire progeny by digital dermatitis, because in, like maybe other countries, but ours specifically, the worst problem is digital dermatitis. Trimmers have been able to manage the other ones. So using 100 as a base, the only thing that the progeny and the science and the agriculture department wanted to see was, are there extremes? Do we have extremely good sires? And do we have extremely bad sires? If we have an average clonal system, it would be a fail. They're very excited. So the data range ran from 114 down to 96. So the formulation they've set up is to the farms that for every 5 points over 100 should result in a reduce of 5% prevalence in DD in the dairy cows. Heritability for this was set at 8%. Don't ask me, I just cite the news on this. So the important part for us as trimmers talking about money and farmers, this is the Hoof Health Sub-Index that they've come up with. So I want to actually point out the dollar figures down here are based on relation between the veterinarians, the hoof trimmers, farm time values, and actuaries. Toe ulcers were set at $517.74. Sole ulcers were $180, white line $180. Heel bone erosion funding up to $216. Digital dermatitis and interdigital dermatitis. Bad thing. Fair. This does not, in our system, include loss of milk. The loss of milk is calculated through the lactation of the recording animals. If they are losing lactation bell curve, that is calculated in the end for the bull's estimated breeding value in milk. I'll see that go. So the reports, now we have this. So Vic, can this show up on my DHI dairy comp? Yes. Now we can do it. We have the support. So, first herd in Canada to ever have this put out is one of my herds. That's good. We like this. So let's explain this now. There are 4 options that a farm can use to get their particular record, what they want to do. So I've got 3 to set up. So from September 6, 2017 through last year, 2018, you can see basically healthy footed cows, digital dermatitis, white line lesion, and they will see this. The important thing for the farm is under a pro-action assessment, the farms want to know, how am I doing? So it is set up that there's the Ontario average, the Canadian average. This farm now knows that they're below provincial and national standards for foot health and the healthy lesion. Digital dermatitis, in Ontario we're at 17%, they're still high at 23. White line, lower. Sole hemorrhages, a little higher. Sole ulcers, a little higher. Heel erosion, basically exactly the same as everyone else. So they get a general overview now, no guessing. So if the assessors come in, the hoof health data comes through, but the hoof trimmer now, it reverses. You can see, we're down to 2. You can see the value of what you're doing in sole ulcer and biomechanics relating to everybody else. Only animals with lesions option. So as you can see, in February we had a big spike. In Canada we had 2 harvests. There's the berry harvest for strawberry foot or digital dermatitis in the winter. Then we go to the bush and we harvest blocks to put blocks on in the summer. We have a lot of heat stress too on cows. Canadian cows, they're not like Arizona cows. They're like, oh, it's nice, it's nice, it's nice. It's 35 Celsius and we hit 40 humidex and they're like, Arizona cows go, they can handle that. No problem. This is the most important thing I tell my guys now, the recurring report. So if I am in there and I get busy and I don't want to do the history unless there's a necessary point, the cows that are non-healing lesions, Peter, will now show up. is that cow in my chute at a higher average in recording than the rest? So we know, Hilda, low, I like that, stop breeding. Isn't that a nice word for many hoof trimmers? You stop breeding this cow. Breed it beef. Don't breed it to something that you think would be useful. You know, claw structure. So it's quite good now that we managed to get this done. So now we've gone full circle. The hoof trimmer's information matters. The hoof trimmer looks like a genius, which we should. The vet now feels good that I don't have to do that job because my hoof trimmer finally did the job, right? The feed nutritionist no longer can't bitch at the hoof trimmer because we're the ones causing all the ulcers, or vice versa. Stops all that. Everything works in a wonderful sequence now. I'm very proud to say that we've done that. So for the record, thank you.
I'll start by offering you a plastic.
Oh.
You might need it for his third.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for Vic Daniels? Yes, there's one up there. Look at my mic runner. He's so fit today. Big applause to him.
Hi, thanks. I'm Peter Browden from Sikkes in Denmark, and thank you for a nice presentation, Nick. You showed us the record. You had all your farms, and then you had the type of trim. And you used the white line transit method and the 5-step method. How do you choose which kind of trim you're using in each herd?
The environment and the animals in question dictate how we do the trimming. So that's part 2 this afternoon. Don't miss my workshop. No, to be honest with you, it's like anything else. We are from our region. We work with our people. So if you want to know, when I've been swimming since 1984 and actually since 1973, when we had pasture systems and seasonal tie stall, I would say, without knowing it, I was a Kansas method hoof trimmer. Soul gradient, rim trim, let the toe fall down, leave the cow at the ground, and the environment work. Since we had healthy footed cows, for the most part, that's how it worked. So we just kept the same system going. When we got introduced to functional method, thanks to Peter, in 2010, we were in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We heard this is the right way to trim feet. He didn't say that, though. We were just told that was the right way to trim feet. Peter just told us you're not doing it the right way.